Hi, I'm Rob Glick. Welcome to the Trainer Tips. This is Carol Stedman. She's going to be helping me today. What we're going to do is focus on some of my favorite exercises on the GTS. Now, you'll notice on the floor here, we have the functional testing grid. And we're using that primarily because we are in a garage and I don't want to have Carol working on the cement. So this is a great mat for us to be using. But since this is what we're using, I'm going to go ahead and use some of the angles on it. And I love to use this for lunges, also for some of the different exercises that you'll be seeing today. I'm going to have Carol go ahead and come down. We're going to just take these into a nice progression, starting from a kneeling plank position. I love doing planks because now we've got a movable floor. But first we're going to do it with nothing moving. So she's kneeling, nice and braced through her trunk, and really solid through her shoulders. Now the next progression is going to be just to move up a little bit so that we can open the glide board. Still kneeling, so short lever, not a ton of length to the core, but still a nice solid plank position. And then she's got her elbows directly under her shoulder. Now we're going to take it and just lengthen out a little bit. This does require a lot more shoulder girdle strength, flexibility, and mobility. Puts a lot more stretch or length into the abdomen. Lot more difficult, but a great exercise nonetheless. Now go ahead and pull in, come back. We're going to go to the next progression, which would be to those planks from her toes. First one, of course, will be to not move the glide board. So she's going to start having her forearms down to take the wrist joint out of it. Glide board remains closed. She's on her toes. The next position will be to walk her elbows in a little bit so we now have the glide board open. Again, from this position, it requires a lot of shoulder girdle stability. Pressing up through her shoulders, being strong through the core. The next progression will be to lengthen out. Again, the second you put that much length into your core, you really, really feel the exercise. So go ahead and come on out. Carol's like, yes, Rob, I do. I do. You can have your clients or your students do that series from the wrist as well. So why don't you come up onto your forearms, grab the outside, and then go from your toes. Just change the angle. Some clients complain based on their wrists, but you can put them in a real neutral wrist position here. Start with the glide board closed, walk up, glide board open, further away from the shoulders, definitely requiring more shoulder girdle stability. Again, away from that pelvis, a lot of trunk and spine stabilization going on here. Now go ahead and open up. Real strong. Go ahead and pull back, bend your elbows. Girls like, thanks, Rob. Now what we're going to do is just flip that all around. So her feet are going to be up on the glide board and her forearms are going to be down on the grid. So now we're changing the point that has the unstable surface to being underneath her knees as opposed to underneath her shoulders. Just changes the exercise. Really cool. So what she's going to do now first is just do it from the kneeling position. Glide board's closed. Now go ahead and bring your knees in. Let's open up the glide board. Still kneeling position, glide board open. Because we're utilizing a slight incline, it is pushing weight toward her upper torso this way, so it's stabilizing here, but very unstable underneath this portion of her body. Now go ahead and lengthen a little bit. Again, just a different way to put that length into the core. How's that feel? So somebody go ahead and come all the way in and take a break. Somebody as strong as Carol, kneeling, doing that exercise already is a pretty strong exercise. You want to go ahead and do that series from your toes. So still going forearms. Go ahead and come down on your forearms like you did before, but on your toes. Good. So glide board closed, position number 1. Glide board open, position number 2. Glide board open and lengthened, position number 3. Loving the planks on the GTS. You've been working with so many of your clients for so long on planks, but the floor doesn't move. So where do you go? So this is a great way to give yourself a lot more progression. Now let's look at the planks from the side plank position. I love doing side planks here, and we'll use the grid a little bit on these. Exact same thought process in your progression. For somebody who's unfamiliar, she can keep her bottom leg, put your bottom leg down on the ground. So even scoot down a little bit more. And now she can go ahead and keep her bottom leg down and then just press her hip up, okay? Bring your pelvis forward. I'm looking at ear, shoulder, hip, all in a straight line. Then I can play with her arms, have her take her arm up. We can take the arm over, and again, add that length, really stay long and strong. Or we can use the grid. So what I want you to do is reach out here and touch 90 here, come back up overhead, reach for 60. Beautiful. Come back overhead, and then try reaching for 30 right here. Gorgeous. And come back overhead. Beautiful. And take a break. Now we're going to do that same series, but this time we'll do it from her feet. Now when I start, let's look really quickly. I'm not going to have Carol do all of these reps, But when somebody's first starting, I have them take their top leg forward. This way, the hips still stay closed, hip to shoulder to ear still stay in a really nice alignment, but they've got a wide base of support. So that takes away a little bit of the stability requirement. As they progress, the feet come closer together. So just draw those feet closer together. Gorgeous. And then eventually, feet stat. So do you want to do feet stat, Carol? You want to stay a little bit? All right. A little bit open. Perfect. Looking at the ear, shoulder, hip. Glide board closed, number 1. Now let's go glide board open, number 2. A lot of shoulder girdle stability here required. I mean, if any of my clients have any rotator cuff injuries or any shoulder issues at all, we don't do this, okay? Then adding lever changes, that arm comes up, reaching overhead. Traditionally, you guys have done this to bring the arm back overhead and wrap the arm all the way underneath, adding a little bit of movement and then coming back all the way up overhead. Now, with the grid, I can start to have her come this direction. Go ahead and reach to 90 or 60. Perfect, reaching to 60. Now let's reach to 90. Playing with the angle, still stabilizing big time through her core. Let's reach over here to 30 and come on up and take a break. Excellent. Go ahead and let the glide board come down. So that's really some of my favorite exercises. Just doing plank with an open glide board, changing the position, adding the shoulder girdle instability by having the arm on the glide board, or adding the pelvis instability by placing the feet on the glide board. You can get a lot more out of your planks by doing it like that. So I hope you enjoy this trainer tip and really enjoy those exercises. Thanks for joining us.